Hello, my name is Angelica, and I'm very excited to share my speech today. And the topic is bicycles. When we think of bicycles, maybe the first thing that comes to mind is just playing, when you were a kid, riding bikes in the neighborhood. Could be exercise, and it could maybe even be your mode of transportation to and from work or to school. A lot of people nowadays have switched over to bicycles, especially e-bikes, because of lower emissions and cost of gas for many different reasons, and just to enjoy nature as a whole. But today I'll be sharing with you the history of bicycles, the global impact that they've made, and a little bit about what is being used in modern day today. So, in history, the bicycle has been around, let's see, for about 200 years, according to National Geographic. And there's an article that states that it was a hugely disruptive technology and it easily equates to the smartphone today. And so that's how innovative and popular it was back when the invention 200 years ago it started, but then it evolved from there. The earliest version was invented in 1817, and that was by a German man named Karl von Drais. It was known by many names at that time. They called it the velocipede, a hobby horse, a Dreising, and a running machine. However, at that point, it still had no pedals. You had to push it in order to make it go, kind of like a scooter, which may have been the reason that at first it wasn't too popular. Later in the 1860s, pedals were added, and they were added to the front wheels. And so several different French inventors who developed some prototypes, they continued where Carl had left off. The pedals to the front wheels, that added a lot of obviously momentum, and it started to evolve pretty quickly after that. Then came what was known as the penny farthing, and that was in the 1970s. That was a bike with a large front wheel and then a smaller back wheel. It looked very impressive, I guess, but it was very hard to ride and it was very dangerous. So many people just avoided it altogether. And then the real breakthrough that came in the 1980s with the invention of the safety bicycle, is what they called it. Two wheels of equal size, more like what we know today is a bicycle with two wheels, front and back. And there was a chain, it was chain driven, and it was easier to balance. The basic design is still what we use nowadays, so that had happened in the 1880s. The person that did that basic design in the 1880s, this is what National Geographic has a little article about it, and it says, quoting, the person generally credited with inventing the modern bicycle was an Englishman named John Kemp Starley. His uncle, James Starley, had developed the penny farthing in the 1870s. Suspecting that there might be a greater demand for bicycles if they weren't so scary and weren't so dangerous to ride. In the 1885, the 30-year-old inventor began experimenting in his workshop with a chain-driven bicycle featuring two much smaller wheels. After testing several prototypes, he came up with the Rover safety bicycle. It was a 45-pound machine that more or less resembles what we think of as a bicycle today. And that's straight from National Geographic. And so that is the history on the bicycle and how they, how the bicycle evolved a little bit. And so it dates back quite some time. This isn't something that is, new or like e-bikes nowadays. This had started back, in the 1800s. And so the bicycles weren't only just something to get around on. It really made a really big dent and impact in society. And so, moving along, I'm going to cover the surprising impact that bicycles had during the late 1800s. And so the bicycle, it really revolutionized everyday life and mobility. People were able to get around places and for free. A lot of they either had to take a train or spend money on other forms of transportation. But this was a method that they can use on a daily basis to get from point A to point B and so forth. Ordinary people took an extraordinary journeys, like Russian soldier who rode from St. Petersburg to London, or Annie, last name Annie Londonderry. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. The first woman to cycle around the world in 1894, armed with only a change of clothes and a pearl handed revolver with her for protection. In Australia, workers pedaled hundreds of miles across the outback, while in the US, and then the Buffalo Soldiers cycled nearly 2,000 miles from Montana to Missouri. That was in 1897, proving that bicycles were faster and cheaper than horses for military use. Bicycles didn't just change travel, they reshaped society. The inspired art, music, or they inspired art, music, and literature, and even expanded the human gene pool. In England, records show a rise in inter-village marriages during the 1890s. So people were getting around different towns, different locations, meeting new people. That goes for to show us that it had a really really big impact on society. As young people roamed freely and connected across distances, so they were able to travel places they hadn't been able to travel before so easily, and more people were able to do that. As author H.G. Wells and songwriter Henry DeCree captured in their work, the bicycle wasn't just a machine. It was a symbol of freedom, romance, and social change. And so bicycles today and future, they're still evolving. Today we have road bikes, which are known for their speed. And we also have mountain bikes, which are off-roading. A lot of people love, those more dangerous activities, off-roading, going mountain bike riding, down some steep, crazy hills. Um, and then we have the BMX bikes. Often we see on TV or different places in our community that they're having um, uh, competitions to see who can do the best tricks. So those are amazing. Some pretty awesome people that are flying and doing loops and landing, and so it is a very fun hobby. I don't think I would be able to do that, but the fun hobbyists that have been trained and really know their stuff, they really amaze me. And then we have the most popular, I think nowadays almost every other person must have one, is an e-bike. And with built-in motors, they're able to help, get further distances without being so tired. And so that is a pretty amazing journey on how the bicycle first started with no pedals to where we are now that bicycles have motors. And although we also use the pedals, we can sometimes be reliant on that motor to get us to the majority of our places now. And so cities around the world are designing a lot of infrastructures like bike lanes, bike sharing programs, and then a lot of green ways to make cycling safer and more accessible. And so, as we face climate change and urban, in different areas, there's urban congestion. Bicycles could do play a huge role in building healthier and more sustainable cities. And so, with that, in conclusion, I know that from the 1800s to today, we have seen an extensive amount of different types, colors, shapes, sizes of bicycles used for eco-friendly to travel. They've definitely come a long way, and they're still moving forward. And so the next time that you ride a bicycle or see somebody ride a bicycle, just remember that you are continuing a tradition that has been here for there. It's now over 2 centuries old, and they're still making an impact today. Thank you so much.